Okay, it's Max Kaiser and Simon Dixon, co-founders of Bitcoin Capital. Simon, how's it going?
Very good, thank you. And you?
Fantastic. So, BitPay is coming to Bitcoin Capital. We put this together. We met Tony Galippi back in Prague during the one of the very first Bitcoin conferences ever. It's always been our dream to have BitPay in the Bitcoin Capital Fund, and now it's in the fund. So we're very excited by this. Yes.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, there's sentimental value. So it was all those years ago back in Prague, as you said, that we were all at the very first Bitcoin conference, and there was a little startup pitching when the price of Bitcoin was around about $3, and it was this gentleman called Tony Galippi, and it later became one of the largest companies in the Bitcoin sector, BitPay, which is doing merchant processing and has, last time we looked, over 65,000 merchants all around the world, except in Bitcoin. So Tony has done so much for the Bitcoin space in terms of driving adoption, allowing people to accept Bitcoin payments in a way that works for their business and they can hedge some of the currency risk. So the sentimental value's there, but also the business and investment value. We've got some really good terms and a really good deal, which we can go through in a bit. But the company's going from strength to strength at the moment, and the growth rates are pretty fantastic. So we're going to show some of those details on this pitch as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really the price that matters with BitPay. It's the number of transactions, and the number of transactions has gone steadily up every month, every year, and they're getting a big piece of that. They're also doing a B2B piece. I talked to Tony last week in Amsterdam. They're doing business with businesses who need to move money around in countries where it's getting difficult to move money around. The banking systems in various countries are not holding up that well, but using BitPay and Bitcoin, they're able to move business funds and get business done, which is excellent. And of course, StartCOIN Holdings is, of course, a 25% owner of Bitcoin Capital 1, 2, and 3. So StartCOIN Holding people should be happy about this because they're getting now a piece of this premier investment in BitPay, which is fantastic. And other than that, I guess we should just touch on other Bitcoin Capital news. Maybe I see Factum's in the news, right, Simon?
Yeah, so Factum's been doing they've got some contracts with China, with Microsoft. They're doing some smarts with China. They're doing some smart cities with the Chinese government out there. So they're really going from strength to strength. But I also want to just returning back to the BitPay, there's a few details which I think are worth mentioning. And that's who we're actually getting to co-invest with, because the original round was with Founders Fund, the early seed round, which they also invested in the seed round of Facebook. So they're obviously seeing something there. And then the most recent round, the Series A round, was actually done with some venture capitalists, some traditional venture capitalists, and some investors like Sir Richard Branson. So there's a real star-studded lineup of investors that people are getting to co-invest with. And obviously, the only way to get in at the moment for professional investors in this sector is through Bitcoin Capital 3 at the moment, because the venture capital rounds are all closed, done, dusted. So what we're also thinking of doing is we've got some spare nominee stock in Bitcoin Capital 3. And as this is probably, well, one of the only ways of getting in one of the BitPay rounds, then we're probably going to be opening up some of the nominee stock just to fully subscribe it and give people an opportunity to get in on some of the other deals that have been done as well.
Yeah, fantastic point, Simon. I mean, basically, you're pari passu with the Founders Fund, the early, what's called the gang from PayPal, and some great VC names as well. This is really a premier name, so it's really fantastic. Great for the fund. I noticed that there are now a couple of other funds that are popping up. I think we've opened the gateway to this model where this is a great space to be in. We've got the mining piece, which is also a fantastic part of this. And so it's all looking pretty good. But so you're saying that you're actually, there's some nominee stock available. You can actually open this up a bit. I guess we were just shy of the $1 million goal last time, so I guess that would be the target then, huh, Simon?
Yeah, so I mean, we close at $1 million. We're not doing any overfunding. It's blocks of $1 million, and Bitcoin Capital 3 will close at $1 million. So there's some nominee stock available. We'll open that up to people that want to get indirect exposure to BitPay. And there's also some other interesting, as you said, there's some copycats coming around that are looking to do what we're doing. So we need to move faster, Max. So we've got another innovation to announce, and that is that the original Bitcoin Capital 1, 2, and 3 have been paying investors dividends every single day in Bitcoin. So it's a good way to accumulate Bitcoin. But at the same time, there's been some really interesting other coins and blockchains that have come around. And what we're going to be doing now is we're going to allow people to select the currency out of the 4 supported currencies that we're offering that they wish to receive their dividends. So let's say they would like to receive their dividends in Ethereum, which is performing incredibly well at the moment, and the second the second blockchain out there. They could say, well, I'll receive big dividends in Ethereum for a week, and then the week after I'll receive them in Dashcoin for a week. And then the week after they could say, well, StartCOIN's doing well, we'll receive some StartCOIN dividends. And then they could go back to good old Bitcoin, which is the number 1 blockchain out there. So we're giving a bit more flexibility in that, because we're programming away. We're not just doing a traditional venture capital fund. We're programming away on the blockchain.
Yeah, I like to think that we were inspired as bankers and former bankers and stockbrokers by the Bitcoin and blockchain and crypto revelations and revolutions. It really got us thinking in terms of what we grew up doing, or our professional careers are in banking and brokering. And so this is how we've been attacking and re-architecting the global financial markets, is through these channels of banking and fund management. And this innovation that you're talking about is another fantastic innovation. You mentioned StartCOIN. I will just mention on the StartCOIN front that we are now very aggressively going to be getting the nodes, the start nodes that we're crowdfunding on StartCOIN, out to all 38 or 40 countries. I think we're in now, or maybe it's 78 countries. We want to get a node in every country we're up and running. We want to get 100 nodes out there. We're funding them on the site, and we're going to start paying node operators StartCOIN. So if you have a start...
I noticed, I did notice that there was a bit of a rally in the price this week. Is that the news that's driving some of that?
Yeah, the news is that we're going to be getting nodes all over the world, at least 100 to start with, plus the Start wallet. We're actively developing that. And then, of course, StartJoin version 2.0, it went into full development on February 1st. That's on schedule. So that's looking like that'll be rolling out. I'll have to check. We said 90 days after February 1. But that's definitely on target. But I think the key here is the StartCOIN, because StartCOIN is now, with these nodes being spread out all over the world, we think we're going to take a serious run to be in the top 15 altcoins, top 10 altcoins out there. It's tough competition, Simon, because you've got coins like Ethereum now. It's almost $750 million. It looks like it's going to be the second billion-dollar crypto coin. What's your take on Ethereum? This is amazing.
Well, Ethereum is actually, it's just an incredibly, it's interesting because the economics are not actually the same as a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, which is built upon sound principles of a fixed supply and a fixed monetary policy. Ethereum is getting a lot of attention right now, but in the long term, investors do need to be aware that there is almost an unlimited supply of these things. So it was not really designed as a currency the way that Bitcoin was. It's designed to power the Internet of Things and smart contracts and do things that Bitcoin's not so good at. But in terms of investment, while it's performing incredibly well, and I expect that to continue, and I've definitely been accumulating some ethers throughout this bull market, and I will be looking at taking some of those dividends and putting those in ethers. You've got to be aware that the long-term economics are not the same as Bitcoin. It's more like a if you want to compare it to a currency, it's like a fiat currency because they're going to be printing more of these things. So just long-term investors need to be aware. Short-term, I'm sure you can get some real good spikes off this. I'm sure it's got a lot further to go, but it's anyone's guess. These things go up and down like crazy. Bitcoin's reached a bit of stability. It seems to be on the rise again. But as long if you're looking at the long-term frame that we're looking at, Ethereum adds a lot of value to the world. Bitcoin adds a lot of value to the world. I'm not much of a day trader myself, but I like to dollar cost average accumulate these things. And through Bitcoin Capital, you can dollar cost average because you receive these dividends every day for as long as the mining is profitable.
All right, well, fantastic. So in summary, BitPay is coming to Bitcoin Capital. Bitcoin Capital is going to reopen to get to that $1 million threshold for Bitcoin Capital 3. And you've got another fantastic innovation with the dividends that will be now able to be represented in not one coin, but in several coins. Is that about, I think, captures the essence of it, Simon Dixon? What do you think? Is it time to say goodbye?
Yeah, absolutely. One more point as we close. We're open for investing. We're looking at if anyone out there and they want to recommend some companies that they'd like to see in the Bitcoin Capital 3 portfolio or other portfolios, they should send some suggestions our way, because there's so much right now that we're getting invited to a lot of these rounds, but if anyone would like to see some stuff in their portfolio, they should comment below in the forum. They should let us know what they want to see, and then we can make it happen.
Let me just make a bit of a digression here and talk about Bank to the Future. Bank to the Future, of course, is your equity crowdfunding site. And I noticed that you've got a new project up there called Credits. Eric Benz, who's the chief operating officer, is a good friend of ours. That's his project right here at level 39 at Financial Tech Center here in London. Credits. And it looks like a good project. Can you just mention it briefly if you want to? I mean, we might as well, right? What's going on with Credits?
Well, Credits is an interesting one, Max, and we got to have the conversation about what we want to do after, because we're diehard fans of the Bitcoin blockchain. We're diehard fans of disruption. Whereas Credits is serving a market which is becoming an incredibly big market at the moment, which is allowing corporates, governments, and financial institutions to build their own private blockchains. Now, when I put my missionary hat on, I'm all about Bitcoin, I'm all about disruption, I'm all about decentralization. But if I switch my missionary hat off and put my investor hat on, it seems like a great opportunity, because there seems like there's going to be billions and billions poured into developing private blockchains, and that's happening right now. And Credits actually developed the very first blockchain for a government with the Isle of Man government as a proof of concept, and they've got some really interesting stuff out there. So I put a little bit in myself as a personal investment, but it's this whole we believe that the Bitcoin blockchain is where it's at, the disruption's where it's at, but it's also interesting to be hedged with some of these private blockchains, which looks like it's going to be a very big sector, but I'd rather see the disruption happen as well. Okay, well, maybe it's a good opportunity for investors and users and the community to weigh in with their opinions about Credits. And it's on the Bank to the Future website right now. I think it's the #1 listed project that's now open on your site, Bank to the Future. And of course, there's a relationship with 31% funded in the first day it was, I think. Oh, fantastic. We've got a relationship with Bitcoin Capital. And of course, StartCOIN is rewards-based. And we use StartCOIN, which is now starting to really pick up some speed with our node initiative and our wallet initiative. And so anyway, Simon Dixon, as always, great to speak with you there in Hong Kong. And I think you're going to be back in London in July. Maybe we'll catch up in person then. But for now, I'll swing by in July. Version 2 of StartCOIN will be live by then, hopefully. So I can't
hell
wait to see
yeah!
that.
It's going to be rocking. My target's always been to overtake Doge. Doge is hovering in that $15 to $16 million range. My goal is to get StartCOIN at that level. I think we should be at that level. That's my goal. We're making all the moves we possibly can to get it to that level. The focus is on the coin. It drives the ecosystem. And we want to have a comedy festival in Hong Kong with StartJoin and StartCOIN. We'll talk about that offline. I have a whole big festival idea at that comedy club that our buddy James introduced us to. But for now, it's time to say goodbye. Thanks so much, Simon Dixon.
Bye-bye.
Well, all right, that's going to do it for this episode of All Things Crypto and Magical with Simon and Max. Bye, y'all.